Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast, Season 2, Episode 2. So, this, this season premiere last time was pretty darn good. But, and it kind of went where I was hoping it would, but also kind of didn't. See, I wanted it to get right to the point. I didn't want them to spend an entire other season just kind of retreading season one. Because kind of the main goal of season one was Kipo finding her father and the rest of the burrow dwellers. Like, there were these other mini, like, stories and stuff within that, but that was the main core of the season. And so my biggest wish for season 2 was that they wouldn't just repeat that it wouldn't just be the same thing over again. So I was happy that in episode 1 they managed to have Kipo find her father. Like, she was able to track him down and find him and even temporarily rescue him before he was captured again. But he was captured again, and that worries me. I hope that they do keep on track with this, and that they don't just, like, start going and doing this a bunch of other random stuff. I don't want it to repeat season 1. I want it to be its own thing. I want season 2 to have its own identity and not just retread the past. Because while I liked season 1, if it's just going to be the same thing again, what's the point? If it doesn't do anything new, then there's no point for it being a second season. I don't want this conflict to last too long. I want this resolved. I want to see Leo saved quickly, like within the next couple episodes. And I mean completely saved, as he's not going to get captured again. Now, obviously Scarlemagne's going to continue to be a bad guy, that's fine. But I don't want them to continue with the entire, oh, I have to rescue my father plot point. We need that resolved. As for everyone kind of like going into hiding or being protected by the timber cats or whatever, that stuff's fine. I'm okay with that still being a thing. Because Scarlemagne is still a threat, as we saw when he took out Ratland last episode. That's fine, but I don't want them repeating that main focus again. So I really hope they get that taken care of within these next couple episodes. Because that would be like the biggest mistake they could make here. That being said, we also have these mysterious masked people who look like it's almost Plague Doctor-like with their masks, but like I think 2 of them were like rabbits or something. If I remember right from last week. But it kind of has like this Plague Doctor-like design still and feel to it. So I'm wondering, who are they? They seem to be against Scarlemagne, which is good, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're good. So I'm wondering, who are they? What is their goal? Are they good or bad? Are they going to end up allying with Kipo? Or are they going to end up just being a completely separate third party? we'll have to see. Um, but things are getting interesting nonetheless. Scarlemagne is getting a lot more active. He's getting a lot more aggressive with everything he's doing, and so I really hope that we can address things with Leo, get him figured out and everything, get him saved for good this time quickly, and then focus on more of the war against Scarlemagne that is clearly being set up here. Um, and like I said, I don't want them to just retread season one by having all these like episode of the week kind of things, these mutes of the week and stuff. But like that worked for season one, but I think that they should abandon that for now. It's too plot focused at the moment to make that work. The specifics of what are happening are too important and too dire to make to have an episodic nature just work for this series at this point. It would feel out of place and would just it would destroy the tension that we're supposed to be feeling for what's going on. So it needs to make sure it doesn't do that. I really hope it doesn't. Um, like for example, we don't need an episode like visiting like some other group of mutes for the first time and seeing just how our characters interact with them and seeing what their problems are. We don't need another episode like that. We have to focus now. Um, I feel like, especially with the episode count of shows like this on Netflix, they usually have a smaller episode count. It's a little easier to focus than with shows that usually have a longer episode count due to being on televised stations and all. But there's still a risk. So I am just hoping that it does it right. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the first episode of this season. I still really liked it, and it did leave me with one hell of a theory based on what Leo told Kipo regarding her transformation, you could say. She can transform into a jaguar mute, but if she's not careful about it or whatever, it can end up being permanent or whatnot. And my theory was with the way this is all being said and with the other evidence and stuff we've gotten, what if the mega monkey is Kipo's mother? And it's like, because again, as has been noticed, the mega monkey very specifically responded in a notable way to Kipo singing that song. And that song was specifically a song within their family, a song that Leo would sing to Kipo and that they would sing together. It, it tracks that when she was there, she would have sung it with them too. So that just makes sense. um, and the entire like thing about Kipo giving like the bracelet to the Mega Monkey and everything, it just seems like everything is kind of like foreshadowing that the Mega Monkey is extremely important. And with Leo, again, bringing up the idea that because of this experimentation that was done on Kipo, like she can do this transformation, but it could end up being permanent if not done carefully. Like again, it feels like with the focus that the Mega Monkey has had, that they're telling us something. Like that's the only thing I can think of. If I'm wrong, and again, do not tell me in the comments if I am right or wrong. Whether it's revealed or not or whatever, I want to see it for myself. I want to find out on my own if my theory ends up coming true. But just everything that it kind of has built up with that has kind of hinted towards that. And I also brought up the question: would there somehow be a way to reverse it? It was implied to be permanent, but I don't know. If not, that would be very sad. But it definitely seems like if that is the case, she is still in there. And she definitely still has recollection and knowledge of who Kipo is. Like, it's been made very clear, like, she can. It definitely seems like she recognizes Kipo. It definitely seems like she recognizes the song. It definitely seems like she cares greatly. Again, whether she is Kipo's mom or not. So that's my big theory right now, based on just the information we have. Because unlike with some shows, I actually have not been spoiled on, I think, anything going forward with this. Um, I don't think I haven't been spoiled on anything for this series. I've heard people talk well about it. It's just I've not heard any actual spoilers, which is weird to think about because with a lot of series I react to, I hear at least some spoilers or see some spoilers or whatever on social media unintentionally. It just kind of ends up happening, and it's like with this one, I don't know anything going forward, so I'm excited for that. It's really exciting to actually be completely blind on something because it just feels like it doesn't happen as much anymore just because of how the internet is, and it's like I can't even fully avoid it because I don't know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. I'll just be scrolling along Twitter and it just pops up and it's like, oh, thanks for that. But I'm not usually super angry because a lot of the times it's for shows that have like aired a while back or even really old. And so it's like I can't blame anyone for that. It's like they're talking about older shows and stuff. It's well past the spoiler free period, so I can complain when people are spoiling shit that just came out though. At least give it a couple days. At least 24 hours at the very least. But preferably if you can a couple days. I'm talking to you, Owl House fandom, who likes to spoil shit instantly after the episode airs. But let's keep on track here. So yeah, we got episode 2 here. Don't know what's going to happen, but I'm hoping that they do within this episode and the next episode get Leo saved again and are able to focus on the dire circumstances and importance of what's going on, because we don't need another finding Kipo finding her father thing. We don't, even though the circumstances are different this time. We don't need that again. Excuse me. So that being said, we're just going to get into this and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I'm still worried, because it seems like even more now that they are going to get sidetracked, to put it simply. That they're kind of going to continue this search throughout this season, and it's just I don't like that. As I said in the pre-thoughts, it just feels like it's too repetitive. It's just repeating the same major plot focus as last time, just in a slightly different scenario. And it's like that I don't like that. It just it feels so artificial. It feels artificial, forced, and just unnatural. But maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe it'll be resolved a lot quicker than I think. But this episode was still massively important, showing us Kipo learning how to control her powers. So, on orders, not really orders, but recommendation from her father, she and the gang go to meet with the Sisters of Chevra, or Chevra Sisterhood, whichever it was. Either way, um, they're supposed to be able to help Kipo learn to control her powers. So they get help from the rats, who are luckily still there. I'm so happy that Brad and Amy are still okay. Um, they get a ride and eventually reach the same spot where, in the flashback we saw, um, Leo was with baby Kipo. And we see that these boars come along and take anyone who arrives there to the sisters, who are these three cheese making goats who, through the cheese, are able to basically act as fortune tellers. And despite being very eccentric and a little weird, they're legitimate. Like, they are actually legitimate. They're very helpful. And excuse me. And in the end, they're actually excessively important to helping Kipo learn to control her jaguar transformation. So they agree to help her, and they put her through this cheese making process, adding these herbs to the cheese, like add them in, in, out. And while she's doing that, they're like very slyly fucking with her, purposefully doing shit like throwing knives at her, violently bumping her to where she drops one of the herb shakers in the cheese, and has to like dip her hand into this like really hot cheese to get it. And all of this is intentional, because by putting her in this danger, it instinctually allows her jaguar instincts to kick in, causing the various traits to come out as a form of protection. And the herbs in, herbs out is very much a Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off kind of thing. In fact, it's excessively similar. Except instead of like with Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid with the different moves, like just legitimately being like karate moves hidden in chores, this time it's more of a mantra. It's more of like a way of channeling your emotions and feelings. The herbs in is basically feeling that danger and the need to be able to protect yourself and others from it. Herbs out is feeling safety, feeling comfort, feeling that you don't need that protection anymore. It's a breathing exercise in a way too. You breathe in and out. Breathing in brings everything in. It just brings all of this into yourself. And breathing out releases it. So it's really clever, both from a writing perspective and from the characters. So I really like that. And we find out through more flashbacks and all that Kipo and Leo weren't originally from the Clover Burrow, that they were from a completely separate burrow and left sometime after Kipo's mother, after what happened with her. Again, I still suspect she's the Mega Monkey, but either way, after whatever happened with her, um, they escaped and they were like running from these mutes and everything, and so they had to find a home at a new burrow. And so Kipo is now determined to find the original burrow that she was born in and that her parents are from initially. The thing I'm thinking though is that the reason she's looking for it is to try and find who she is, because if she turns into the full Mega Jaguar, she'll lose herself. And this was obviously foreshadowed by Leo, what he said last episode. And is, one of the reasons why I think the Mega Monkey is the mother. So if she turns to the Mega Jaguar, she'll lose herself and be unable to turn back unless she has an anchor, something to connect her to her humanity so that even when she turns Mega Jaguar, it'll allow her to be able to return. And so she believes that in order to find herself and to truly realize who she is, she has to like go back to where she originally came from. But I don't like that. And I think it's wrong. But I think that's the point as well. I'm not saying it's like I don't like that in terms of like I don't like that the writers are doing this. It's not like it's not the same as like me saying I don't like that they're going over the same story beats as season 1. That I can say is the writer's fault. But with this one, it's more like I just don't like that line of thinking. And again, I think that's the point. Kipo is seeing this as like in order to know myself, I have to find where I'm originally from. I have to know all of my history. And it's like, that's not true at all. That's like very strongly inaccurate. Who you are is not dependent on where you came from. Who you are and what anchors you to your humanity, it has nothing to do about your history or your origin. It has to do with what you connect to, what matters to you, what is important to you. And for Kipo, honestly, it's her friends. It's her friends and her family, the people that matter the most to her. That's what anchors her to humanity. That is, in my view, what is important here. And I think that's what she's going to have to learn. That it's not about where she actually originally came from, but it's about who she's with now. That, I feel, is going to end up being where this is going to go. Meanwhile, Scarlemagne uses his pheromones to force Leo into making more, to basically mass produce them using his chemistry knowledge. And it's bad for obvious reasons. And while he was under the influence of the pheromones, Leo unfortunately let slip about his daughter, about Kipo. So Scarlemagne knows about all of this now. And that's bad. Because he wants to use Kipo and even possibly bring her over to his side. But more interesting was one specific thing. Leo called Scarlemagne insane, and he acknowledged that. He's like, you're right, I'm unhinged. Wonder who made me like this. It was very much implied that Leo was exactly who he was talking about. Leo has something very strongly to do with Scarlemagne and just who he is, how he is, all of that. I don't know what it is yet. I don't even really have a huge theory on exactly what it could be. But it's very clear that honestly, Leo is behind the biggest villain of this world right now, currently at least. There could be a bigger villain in the future. I don't know. Or there could have been a bigger villain in the past. But either way, Scarlemagne is currently the big bad, and Leo is very much implied to be behind that, however that may be. And that's upsetting, to say the least. But at the same time, I don't think it was necessarily on purpose, because Leo's very clearly a very good person. Um, so it was probably a mistake or some kind of accident or something. Maybe having to do with his chemistry. Maybe it explains the scar that Scarlemagne has on his face. I don't know. We'll have to wait to find out, because it's very clear that they're giving us bits and pieces of this and that they're going to explain it all at some point. But yeah, so the only thing I'm really disappointed about here is the fact that they are retreading season one. That they're just having the entire thing be about Kipo finding her father again. And it's just, it is very disappointing, but we're still getting a lot of really good stuff. So overall, I can't be too upset because it's still very good, very entertaining. Still has its signature quirkiness that is just really great. Like, seriously, she's making goat sidekicks. What? Like, the amount of creativity here is off the charts. It is so wild and random and weird, but in the best way. And somehow the writers make it work. Somehow it just ends up working. You believe it. You believe that these characters belong in this world, interacting with these characters. You believe it, and it's just amazing. um, but yeah, I am definitely excited to see where this goes, and I'm still hoping that they do rescue Leo before too long. I just don't want it to wait until the very end of the season. I just feel like that would just be, again, just a cheap retread of season one. But I don't think it's happening next episode. So we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, as always, no spoilers. Don't tell me anything about what's coming up. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.